My bad, y'all. I know I'm late. I know y'all excited to talk about some 49er football, as am I. And I had a chance to talk about it on the radio just now with the radio station out in Oklahoma. But anyways, enough of that, man. Niner gang. We here. We marching on to the NFC Championship game. We're going to get into all that and more right here. Keep it locked. It's the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. Let's go.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Aaron Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Cross Talk TV podcast. Welcome to another episode of the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. I'm your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back, Eric Crocker. And y'all know what it is. If you haven't already, listen to Locked On 49ers with myself, Brian Peacock. Locked On NFL Draft with myself, Ryan Tracy. We're getting into the draft, but guess who's not getting into the draft yet? The San Francisco 49ers, because they just beat down. I don't even want to say beat down, but they just beat. They advanced past the Smug Green Bay Packers. The Smug Green Bay Packers. They had this coming. And you know, the interesting thing to me about all this, when you kind of, they're shocked. But you know who's not shocked? Guys? I don't think anybody in here is shocked. Anybody who has been watching the San Francisco 49ers since week 8, right? They know what this team is about. And this team, my guy Ross Uglum, he came on here, and one of my buddy Chris, he was like, Croc, like, this team don't quit. This team doesn't quit. You know, when Ross said that, it was very disrespectful. But it was like, man, how dare you? So I let them get that off. I let them get the joke, not even the jokes, because they were dead serious. That was how Ross felt. Any of you that listened to the crossover episode with myself, Brian Peacock, and our guy Peter from the Locked On Packers, he was dead serious. The 49ers had no chance to win this game. 49ers won 13-10, by the way, last second field goal by Robbie Gould. How about that? But the way that Packers were coming off, the media, just everything about them, it was as if the 49ers had no chance. And it was wild to me. The media came out, and if you saw, everybody picked against the 49ers. Everybody. But the moment one person picked the 49ers to win, or the moment one person or two people had anything positive to say about the 49ers, the Green Bay Packers media and fans acted like, oh my God, like, how dare you pick against the Packers? I saw a lot of this. I saw a lot of, man, you would think the 49ers were the number one team and the Packers were the 6th seed coming in. The level of disrespect people are giving to the Packers, blah, blah. I saw a lot of that from Packer people. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, the 49ers are a good football team. The 49ers had the best record in the NFC since midway through the season. Like, this was a different team than week 3. We tried to tell them. Week 3, the 49ers are still trying to figure it out. Now, I think my main takeaway from the week 3 game, all right, the main takeaway was that the 49ers turned the ball over twice, the Packers 0 times. And it still took a miracle drive for them to win that game. So that alone, regardless of anything the 49ers got going on with the personnel and who's playing, who's not playing, how Debo's being utilized, all that stuff, regardless of any of that, that should tell you, hey, this is a team, like, they're going to play football. They're going to play ball. Everybody knows the style of football the 49ers want to play. But Packers people just dismissed that game. Now, I get it. The game, the way that this game, the way it went down, maybe not the way I thought it would, right? Not the way that y'all thought it would. But It was the way that it went down. And there is no quit in this team, as my guy uh, Ross Uglum thought the 49ers would do. Oh, if they get down early, they're just going to quit. What? This team don't quit. They were going to quit. They would have quit when they were 2-4. This 49ers team would have quit when they were 3-5. They would have quit when they just got manhandled by the Arizona Cardinals and Colt McCoy. There is no quit in this team. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Quit. So, yeah, it came down to some things that I didn't foresee happening. A block punt return for a touchdown. There was a blocked field goal in there by Ward. But at the end of the day, especially when it's playoffs, it's like you have one game and you got to figure it out. And the main objective is to get to the next game, however that is. However that is. And the 49ers figured it out. This is a special team. Special team, and they're going to do some special things. No, do y'all remember when the Baltimore Ravens won the Super Bowl? Obviously, you guys remember when the Baltimore Ravens won the Super Bowl because they beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl. But what it took for them to get there, do y'all remember the Ravens versus Broncos game and how that game ended? A miracle pass down the right sideline at the end of the game. The safety, I don't know what he was thinking, but he just was too shallow. It was really weird. It was weird how the Ravens had no business being in that Super Bowl, but they kept fighting. It's not always going to be the most ideal way to win. But you just got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. And the 49ers have. So this team, this 49ers team is special in that way. And I think they have special guys that are going to go above and beyond. And it might not be the most, orthodox way of winning, but I have faith that this team will figure it out. And I see in the chat right now, and there are some people talking about, what we saw from Mahomes and Josh Allen last night. And that was special, right? And you look and it's like, that's probably not Jimmy Garoppolo's game. You typically don't want to put Jimmy in that situation. But fortunately for the 49ers, maybe they don't have to because they win in different ways. They win in different ways. I think heading into the Packers 49er game, probably Jimmy Garoppolo, I would say, is the biggest question mark, right? Even heading into the Rams game, probably the biggest question mark. And for good reason. I think it's for good reason. But a lot of people, including myself, we feel like, oh, man, well, Jimmy can't turn the ball over, or everything has to be perfect for the 49ers to win. And because you have Jimmy at quarterback, and at the end of the day, they just figure out a way to win. So I'm definitely done trying to figure out how this team has to win with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. They just do. They just do. We are going to fight. This will be the hardest game of the year. This Rams team will be tough. I agree. And I'm going to get to you guys in the chat, and I'll put the link on early because I will have my guy Greg Pinelli coming on today. QB Monday, we'll talk about the performance, and we'll talk about Greg. That's his boy, Josh Allen. That's like his little brother. And I could tell he was hurt for Josh Allen after that game last night. But we're going to get to, that. So I'm going to get to the calls a little earlier today and kind of let you guys get your takes off and what you feel about the 49ers against the Packers, how you feel about the 49ers moving forward. But that Rams team, I've seen this. Well, being them 49ers own the Packers. Rams. 49ers own the Rams. And they do, right? 49ers that beat them 6 straight times. Not easy to do. There's something to that. I will say this. I try to look at these situations individually. Each game individual. There's different reasons, right? You can't go back 3 years and say, "Oh, well, we own the Rams because we beat them 3 years ago. We swept them, and then then we swept them 2020, and then 2020. Like each game is different. Each scenario is different. The personnel has changed a lot. There have been different things that have changed for the Rams since week 18, improving the chemistry between Matthew Stafford and Odell Beckham. So I think there is something to Kyle Shanahan owning McVay. There is something to that. Just like there's something to the Seahawks and whatever magic spell they have over the 49ers. There is something to that. But at the end of the day, you got one game. You got to figure out for that game. And everything that's been done previously, we got to crumble that up, throw it into the trash, and figure out how the 49ers are going to win this game to advance to the Super Bowl. How are they going to do that? Here's the link in the chat. Y'all know what to do, man. Hit the link. Come on live and let's talk. Come on live. Let's talk about it. We got the Kansas City Chiefs in the house. Hey, man. Hefe KC. Big time performance by your quarterbacks, your receivers, your tight end, your coaches. Things weren't going well. You can't fold, right? The Chiefs defense, they got, cut through like a hot knife, cutting through butter. But their defense has actually been maybe the most consistent thing on that team throughout this year. And when it came down to it, they just needed some plays. The Chiefs needed some plays, and their guys made plays offensively. It's not always going to be perfect. It's not. I did have a takeaway, and I'm glad I didn't tweet it out real quick. This be kind of one of my last takes on this game. Late in the game, all right, we're talking about fourth quarter. The score was 21-23, right? Fourth quarter scored 21-23 in the Chiefs-Bills game. And for all the special from the quarterbacks, my thought process went to, I get that these teams and these quarterbacks are doing some, they're doing some good things, but the score is 21-23. So as special as they are playing, like 21-23, that's, any teams put up that many points. 49ers put up that many points. So maybe teams just win different ways. And maybe you don't need a Mahomes and you don't need a Josh Allen, right? Like that was my thoughts. It was 21-23. You don't need a Josh Allen. You don't need, like, people can score those points. And then the rest of the fourth quarter happened. And that's when I was like, God damn, that's why you need a Mahomes. That's why you need a Josh Allen. Because when it's nut cutting time and you have to match another offense, your defense ain't getting the stops. Now you got to match that offense, tick for tack, play for play, throw for throw. Do you have the guy that can do that? That was special. And those are two of the best in the league. Those are two of the best in the league. But boy, that was special. That was interesting. I was blown away by that. The defense is early on. We're talking about, again, in the fourth quarter, the score is 23-21. Damn near midway through and then all of a sudden, touchdown. And it was the quarterbacks. There were some of the things that guys did in that game. Obviously you had some run after catch, but the timing was impeccable on these throws. That one touchdown by Josh Allen to take the lead late in the game with 13 seconds left. You had the bend route. He's throwing it before the guy breaks. It's on the line. There's no air. It's just, goodness gracious. That was special. The quarterbacks were special. The long touchdown by Tyreek Hill, first of all, that wasn't even supposed to be there. It was 2-man under. 2-man under. Let's talk about it. You got 2-man under. All right. So basically, as we got two safeties high, the corners are able to get in the trail position with the help over top. And as a corner, you want to get in position to be able to undercut any in or out breaking route by the receiver. So you have Tyreek Hill, and he runs just his in route. He takes an outside release. Corner does a good job of forcing him outside. All right. When you're in 2-man, you want to force a guy outside and get in a trail position. He got in his trail position. All right. Got right there behind Tyreek Hill, was able to kind of get some hands on. Hill cut in. He cut in right off of him, got his head around everything. He played it perfect. And the ball just right there on Tyreek Hill. And he caught it and he outran an entire defense. The quarterbacks were just better than the defense that was out there. Maybe sometimes it comes down to that, but golly, you hope for the 49ers it doesn't come down to like what that looked like. And I don't think with the 49ers it will, man. DeMeco Ryans has done an amazing job of making adjustments and keeping 49ers in these games defensively and stuff like that. So, but anyways, man, enough of that. That was a special moment. This weekend in general, every game came down to the last seconds. Special weekend of football. That's why football is king. That's why we have 300 of you in here right now watching a football morning show, because of just how special football is and how it brings all of us together. I always like to talk about us in here. We're all family, and football has definitely brought us a lot closer. And I do think we have our arguments and disagreements like any other family does, but I appreciate everybody that's in here right now. If you're new to the show and you like it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're bringing callers on All right, and first I want to start off with my guy Jedi. Remember too, today is QB Monday. So I should be having Greg Pinelli on. We'll see if his heart isn't broken by what happened with Josh Allen. That was sad. We'll get his take on that. But it is QB Monday. It is QB Monday. So, all right, first coming on, we got my guy Jedi, man. Good morning. How you feeling?
Good morning, brother. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm blessed.
Eh,
I
eh,
just got some great news. I've been talking to you all about my sports performance facility that's being built. They are coming out this week. Finally, the dirt work's been done. My building has been sitting in the field, ready for them to assemble it.
Nice.
And finally, this week, I got the great news they're coming. So
Well,
that's how.
congrats, man. Congratulations. No, congratulations. I'm glad everything's working out for you in a positive direction. That's a good thing, man. Good thing. So
Yes,
I'm
sir.
gonna give our boys some shout outs for us. Shout outs to the defense. Shout outs to the special teams. Thank them boys. I want to shout out Debo, the ultimate weapon. You know, Debo cannot be can never go wrong. And after watching the Kansas City Buffalo game, I look at what we got and I just say, oh Lord Jesus, please help. I hope that it don't ever get down to a moment where the quarterback has to be the guy for us. In I don't even feel like that with Stafford, because I feel like Stafford would throw us something to keep us in the game, because I don't feel like he's elite. I'm not worried about Stafford. Let's put him to the side. I feel like we can get Stafford. Those other two boys, even for the next years coming up, like Josh not going nowhere, man. And Pat's still here. Like, I want to be Croc. I do. I want the rematch, San Francisco versus Kansas City. I just don't want the same results. And when
I think most of us don't. But here's the thing, though, right? Like last night, and this is the tough part, right? At some point, people can blame other parts of the teams and things like that. But let's say Aaron Rodgers, right? Let's take Aaron Rodgers for example. At some point, you have to make a play. Your
yeah,
defense played well all game. You have to make a throw to put the team away. And that
yeah,
was the case for the 49ers in 2019, right? You're up 20-10.
right,
At some point, Jimmy, you got to make a play. Everybody talks about, oh, well, the defense gave up 3 touchdowns and 6, whatever the case is. Well, if our quarterback makes a throw, we
right.
we limit that, right? You get the chains moving, you end up being able to run the clock out or whatever.
That's
And we
the
don't
only
even
way
get
to
in that
beat these
position and you
guys.
win the Super Bowl. And the tough thing is, like Mahomes did in that game, at some point he starts making throws and you're gonna have to match that. So that's the tough thing when it comes to a performance or when you're playing against teams like that. And I don't want to look past the Rams, but hell, let's talk about the Rams too. Same thing. You got Matthew Stafford over there, and at the end of the day, it's a tie game. He had to figure it out, and he made some big throws in big time moments to put that team in position to kick a field goal and win the game. And sometimes it comes down to that. Jimmy has shown the ability to do that. Now, like, you just can't let the game get away from you.
Yeah, I just feel like with Jimmy, the Brandon Ayuk miss, like we can't have that. That will come and haunt us now. Like these are the games where those little mistakes are now amplified. Like just a small overthrow will come back to haunt us. Like the margin of error now has gotten to the point where it's all, even though we used to say, well, you can don't worry about it. No, we got to worry about it now. This is going to be the NFC Championship. So out of all the quarterbacks still playing, we got the worst one. Like, to be honest.
Yeah, but we can't. I hear you. I hear you. But I think everyone knows what the 49ers are and what they aren't, right? And it has to be a group effort.
Right. Right. I just think that we're going to have to lean a lot more on the team, where teams like KC, as we saw, they can lean on that quarterback to say, hey, man, we need magic help. And they got it, man. And even with the young Burrow kid, he's starting to feel himself and starting to grow into his own. So I just think, man, I'm rooting for us, and I hope, but I just think that we missed an opportunity with not starting Trey Lance with this. I think that Trey
Oh
would.
no, this is not
I
Trey
know, man.
time,
I
Jedi.
know
This is
why
not
you
Trey
have
time.
to do and ruin the party. I know, man. I know. I blame Kansas City and I blame Buffalo. So you tell
Yeah,
your quarterback coach, it's their fault. It's their fault. You
yeah.
cannot expose me to that quarterback sex and then think that I'm not supposed to look at my team and like, man, I want that guy.
I see what you're saying. And I'll say this, and I'm gonna get on to the next call. I appreciate you coming on, Jedi.
No problem.
I will say this. I get where Jedi is coming from in the sense of you watching that and understanding what's out there and what it looks like when quarterbacks are playing at a very high level. I get it. I don't think anyone watched the game last night and didn't say, man, I hope Trey Lance ends up being that. The issue is the 49ers right now. They have Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jimmy is a starting NFL quarterback, and he plays well. And I've said it, and I tweeted this out during the game. There are last night, got to add Mahomes and Josh Allen to this, right? And I'll say Tom Brady. There's 3 quarterbacks, maybe 4, that I would take over Jimmy Garoppolo in nut cutting time, right? In that last 3 minutes. There's only about 3 quarterbacks I would take over Jimmy in that moment, right? Because of what he's able to do. Now, what we're not going to do, though, is say Allen's stats still lost. And this is what we have to understand. If you're saying this, all right, and because we're not going to do that. If we're saying this, if we're saying Josh Allen put up all those stats and lost, and Jimmy Garoppolo still won, we can't do that. Don't do that. All right? Don't do that. Because Josh Allen, the quarterbacking that he played in the playoffs and still lost, when he did come on. In comparison to Jimmy Garoppolo and what Jimmy has done in the playoffs and has resulted in wins, I think that lets you know that we got to take a little bit off of QB wins, right? And again, I'm not here to bash Jimmy or anything. Last 2 minutes, I've said it on the show. We got 350 of y'all in here right now. Most of y'all that have been here and listened to me talk about Jimmy and what he is and what he isn't and stuff like that. That's one part of his game I appreciate. But we're not gonna throw out there, well, Allen's all his stats and he still lost, and compare that to what Jimmy has done. And Jimmy is 2-0 right now in the playoffs, or really what he's done throughout his time in the playoffs. It is not even comparable. It's not comparable. So we're not going to do that. We'll look at some of these stats later. I'm not going to bring them on yet. I got them bookmarked on Twitter. All right. Got my guy Jaheim here. He says, Debo is half man, half amazing. Debo Samuel single-handedly, I don't want to say single-handedly, excuse me. Bad choice of words. Debo Samuel, he was big time. He was big time. Dion, you on, man. What's good, bro?
What's good with you, Crocky? How you doing this morning, brother?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing this morning?
Man, trying to recover from this damn game, bro. We can't never win a game and just win the game, bro. It's always got to be some controversy or something. Boy, I tell you, you age watching the 49ers just because of what they put you through game in and game out. What I would have to say is hell of a game by special teams. For y'all out there that said fire Richard Hightower, that man has earned himself a week of telling everybody to shut your mouth. Leave that man alone. Because without special teams, we don't win. These are facts, non-disputable. You can't tell me different because it's the game told you exactly what I just said. Shout out to the defense for balling out. Offense was a little suspect, but, we got close enough for Robbie to kick that game-winning field goal. Once again, that's special teams. Shout out to Talanoa Hufanga. Gotta love the kid. Picked the ball up, scored a touchdown for us, got us that tie. And when it comes to the offense, I got a couple things I'm gonna say, and I know people on here know me. They know how I am. I keep it a buck. Jimmy Garoppolo, you thrown 2 interceptions in the playoffs. You get credit for nothing. I'm not giving you credit for anything because you threw 2 interceptions. Nope, I'm not. Croc, I'm not.
No credit because
what did he do?
He had to make the throws, right, and the right decisions. That's a big part of it, right? I get it, but he had to make the throws and he had to make the right decisions down the stretch to contribute to the win. So he has to get credit for that because On the flip side of it, Aaron Rodgers missed a wide open Lazard over the middle.
I did
So
once.
in the same
Rocket.
moment, okay, we gotta
Okay.
make throws. Jimmy, in that time, I get what I get it. I get it. Also, there were some throws that were dropped early on, but I get what you're saying. But you at least have to give him credit for that.
He made a couple of throws. I give him a little bit of that. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna give you a stat, and I love this. This is why I can get you in this right now, because you usually stump me, and I'm like, damn it, I can't get him. Here's a stat: 726 yards rushing, 9 touchdowns. 290 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. That is the difference between the 49ers and the Packers over the previous 3 playoff games from Colin Kaepernick and Frank Gore and Raheem Mostert in 2019. That is a difference of 436 yards and 6 touchdowns rushing. And we outrushed them this game. That's why we won the game. We ran the ball more, and we ran it better than they did. They had 67 yards rushing. At the end of the day, this is what I'm saying. I don't like giving him credit for something he didn't do. Now, he's really brash because when we beat Dallas, F you, this is our house. When we beat the Packers, F the Packers, F Aaron Rodgers. You ain't do nothing. What did you do? You had one drive where I could the third drive is where I can give him credit. He threw dimes and all the receivers dropped every single ball. So that drive is not on Jimmy. The rest of the game, there's nothing else that we can say that he really truthfully did. But at the end of the day, we won the game. We on the Levi South. And the other thing that I did want to say, I am so sorry. RIP to Tom Compton. Rashawn Gary ate your lunch, bro. He took your lunch money. He held you upside down by your ankle, shook you until your money came out your pockets, took your water, slapped you in the face, went home, told your kids to call him daddy, slept with your wife, moved in, and told you to get your car out the driveway. Like Rashawn Gary ate him for lunch, bro. And anybody that jumps on here and tells me that Tom Compton didn't get ripped up last night is blind. They must not have been watching the game. I was watching. It's unfortunate, but this is the reason why you automatically don't go. I'm not saying that I love McGlinchey and he's the greatest right tackle ever, but all that talk about just moving on from him and keeping Compton, this showed you the exposure that happens when a man has to block for too long or he goes up against an elite pass rusher. Those are the things that you have to be able to see. Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody gets beat once in a while, but he got murdered last night. Well, not last night, on Saturday. But, hey, man, we got the win. That's all that really matters. It's on the Levi South. And Levi's, y'all wrong for trying to hold us out the stadium. Y'all literally are trying to hold us out the stadium, people. That post is straight up 100% real. And I know because I called my boy who's a season ticket holder for the Chargers. And I was like, bro, tell me this. He was like, he told me straight up. He was like, bro, I'm not BSing you. They keeping it above. They really serious about keeping y'all out the stadium. If you do not have a California address, they won't even sell you a ticket. That's how scared they are of having to have their own quarterback go on the side account. They know we're going to come in and take over. It's going to be a sea of red in there anyway. We're going to find a way. If you know somebody in California, have them buy your ticket and go out there and represent, baby. Nothing but love to you, Crocky. Congratulations on everything getting started for you with the, with the facility and everything. Continual blessings are coming your way, man. God is great. God is good all the time. Nothing but love to you, man. I appreciate everything. Continue to be blessed and do great things. Y'all have a wonderful day.
I appreciate you, big dog. My guy Dion coming on. My guy right here, he says, Soriano, he says, throwing shade at Jimmy, but Kittle dropped balls. I know. There were a few drops. I said it. There were some drops, balls, passes in there where I thought Jimmy did an excellent job, and you got to help him. Because you know what I'm saying? Jimmy can start doing some weird stuff. So when he is on the money, you gotta capitalize on that, catch that ball. That would have been a huge. I'm not so sure that Kittle would not have scored. All right, so now I agree. Got my guy Snapper G here. He says not Levi SoFi, but we're calling it Levi, man, because it's Levi South trying to take over. They're trying to hold everybody out. Someone just offered me a ticket. A little pricey. We'll see. Y'all know I just came up on that parlay, so maybe I have a little bit of money to be able to experience another NFC Championship game. I went to the NFC Championship game a couple years ago at Green Bay, so that was awesome to go to. Here we go. Coming on now. I got my guy Gammon. Gammon, good morning, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How about yourself, Croc?
I'm doing awesome, man. Thanks for calling in. I know you're always contributing to the show. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. A couple things. I want to kind of go back to some of the last comments that the other commenter made. I made some valid points before I get to my points, but yeah, I just been getting tired of the all the rhetoric. Like as soon as the matchup comes out, it's all the default answer is, well, the other team has a better quarterback than the 49ers, so the other team's going to win. And that's really been happening ever since the Saints came into town in the last divisional playoff match when it was Alex Smith, Frank Gore. We've been a running team the entire time. And I said before this game to some of my friends who are Packers fans, and I said, hey, we only have to stop one man, Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers has to defeat an entire team. And didn't look like they were able to do that today. That was
Right.
The other thing too is I'm glad that we're going up against the Rams and not the Buccaneers. I think that the Buccaneers defensive line, because we're very, very similar. Our offense is very similar to the Rams, except the Rams are more pass heavy, whereas we're more run heavy. I just feel like the Rams defensive line would have given us a bigger problem. Plus, with how banged up Jimmy Garoppolo is, I'm worried about Sue. Sue's kind of a dirty player, so I'm glad that we're not going up against him. But another thing too, I do want to say is that the other reason I'm glad we're going up against the Rams is just like the other caller was saying, we're in the Rams' heads, not just the players, but even their family members are trying to buy tickets from us. So that that can't be discounted. Like that, we are so far in the Rams organization head. Like even their family members are reaching out, trying to help them win. And then last thing I wanted to say is, that the O-line I'm extremely worried about since we are run heavy. We need Trent to be 100%. I noticed they kept having to slide Trent Williams over to Tom Compton's side. That last game, that basically told me like, hey, we don't trust Tom Compton, you to do your job, so we're gonna have someone else do your job for you. It's been an incredible ride for Compton, but I think a lot of fans have been waiting for him to kind of come back to earth, and I'm just kind of worried that that's what's happening right now.
The one thing I'm worried about I'm worried about a few things with the Rams. I think really good football team. There is something to the fact that, like you said, 49ers in their heads. Sean McVay, I think he knows that, right? At the end of the day. And I said this about Aaron Rodgers. I was talking to Ross Uglum. I'm like, does Aaron Rodgers have to prove to himself that he could beat the 49ers in the postseason? And obviously, again, boom, took another L. And I think Sean McVay as well has to prove to himself, like, no, I can beat him. I can beat Kyle Shanahan. But right now, that's something that's on his mind, right? So this one is definitely going to be very interesting. Very interesting. The one thing, though, you talked about defensive lines and watching Von Miller, it was almost like somebody injected him with 2015.
Yeah.
They're like, here you go. Let's take you back to 2015 real quick. Yeah. They injected that into his arm, and that dude was humming off of that edge. I was oh my goodness.
Yeah, but I would say this though, that the reason why I'm not so worried about Aaron Donald and a lot of times like other teams like best pass rushers is because if we do run it 40 times, they're usually so gassed, so tired, and they don't know whether to go full speed, pin their ears back, right? Go 100 miles per hour. Because Tom Brady, I think went back 50 times. So I mean, Von Miller is going to have some. You drop back 50 times, Von Miller gets to rush you 50 times. He's going to have some good looks, right? That's just that. But I think that they're not going to be able to just completely run at us because they don't know with all the movement where they'll be able to go with the ball. And then last question I had for you, Croc, right? Because, that's a big thing. Whenever we have Greg Pinelli on, we like to ask him quarterback-related questions. Having you here is amazing because you're the defensive back specialist. Eric Weddle, he's amazing. There's something to be said about experience. We all knew that with Sherman. A lockdown dude. He was smart. Is that something that somebody like Brandon Ayuk and someone like because I think are they going to try and put Weddle on somebody like they're not going to try and put Weddle on Kittle or anything like that. But I mean, is that something where you think just because the age that Ayuk and Debo can take advantage of? And thank you for your time, Croc.
All right, all good. I will say this about that, and that's a great question. Kyle Shanahan does a really good job of understanding his opponent's rules and how to use their rules against them. So when it comes to a guy like Weddle, I don't think the Rams are going to say, all right, Weddle, you just go down, you play man on this guy. You just come down, you play man on IU, you play man on Debo, you play man on Jawan Jennings. But you can attack his area and understand his rules to utilize him to isolate him on a receiver. So they play a lot of too high, they play a lot of quarters, and they typically do a good job of doing that. And maybe they'll kind of stick with that. But there are ways to get him out in space against a receiver. And if we know anything about Kyle Shanahan, he would definitely look to make sure he gets that done. Got a super chat here. All right, wanted to touch on this. Jokes on them. I'm an LA native, and we have a strong Niner fan base out here. I got my tickets. Hope to see you, Levi South Crocker. Man, let's go. I appreciate the contribution. I have an opportunity to get a ticket. I'm gonna see if I can do a little negotiating, get it down just a little bit. But hopefully I get there. Definitely a strong fan base out there for the 49ers, and that's why we're calling it Levi South, right? So we're calling it Levi South. A lot of fans in that area, a lot of 49er fans throughout California. And I think how they show up to SoFi Stadium and really how they travel kind of shows 49ers, man. They own California. That's for sure. That is for sure. Got some people that asked for the link. Again, I'll have to cut everything off by about 7:30 a.m. Pacific time as far as the chat goes with the link, because we will be having Greg Pinelli come on and talk quarterbacks. But first, I got my guy Darius coming on. Darius, good morning, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, man. Good morning, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. How you doing?
Yes, sir, bro. I'm great. I told my folks this morning, man. Like I'm still elated, bro. Like I'm on cloud nine. First and foremost, it's time to start walking with a little bit more faith in our team, bro. Like they're going there and they're making it a point. And I'm not saying Jimmy's. I'm not saying.
Oh, Darius, your audio is kind of up and down right now.
All right, hold on. How about now?
Yep. Okay, you're good. I don't know what you did different, but that worked.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, for sure. I can move this thing around, man. You know my situation, man. But anyways.
Yeah. Good.
So everybody's talking about Jimmy, but the Niners are making it a point, man, to go out here and win, regardless of how the quarterback is playing. Everybody's focused on their job. If I do my job perfectly right, it will affect this game. Perfect example, special teams. Those guys have went out there to try to block a kick for so many games now, and we've been hoping that they do it. And they finally did it when it counted the most. They might not do it again, but they did it at that moment, bro. And it's like, it goes back to what I said. Our identity is by any means necessary. It's just go out there and let's get it done, man. Let's not focus on what we don't got. Let's focus on what we do have. And like you said, Kyle is an expert at taking your best pieces and using that against you, man. Every game there was a monster. First it was Micah Parsons. You know what I'm saying? Now it was AR and Devontae. And it's like every week is gonna be something different. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm tired of hearing about this Jimmy. We're in the NFC Championship. I don't even like Jimmy's gonna be who he is. We already know this about that man. So just let's go beyond that. You know what I'm saying? There's something else that you said that kind of interests me as far as it goes. Like dang, you had just said it, bro. My bad. I'm drawing a blank right now, but
no, you good.
I'm happy that I'm happy that we're going to Levi South. That than that long plane trip to Tampa Bay, even though I think we would have smoked Tampa Bay. I like it that we're at home. And I have this theory too. I have this conspiracy theory. Tell me what you think. The Rams kind of didn't really play the second half like that. because they already knew that they had won the West. And I feel like the defense stayed competitive, but the offense, they kind of just started dropping back more and just throwing. Like, I don't know, maybe, like I said, it's a conspiracy. It's a tinfoil hat theory. But what you think? You think they still stayed in at that game?
I think they did, but obviously didn't have the same thing on the line as the 49ers. I think there is something to that. So now at the end of the day, now everybody in the playoffs, and now what's on the line is the Super Bowl. So there ain't gonna be any, and I'm not saying that they're lax, but just when you have something, you kind of just there's a certain level of comfortability that kind of sets over you, contentment.
Right.
Okay, we won the NFC West. It is what it is, and then now, so, but yeah, now Super Bowl's on the line, so you're gonna get everybody's A game.
All right. And another thing too, I wanted to say, last night was a battle of two of the future. Like, those are the future of NFL, man. Mahomes and the boy.
It's almost like Brady versus.
I'm drawing a blank on his name now. Josh Allen.
Brady versus Manning. Yeah, but it was like a Brady versus Manning type thing back in the day. Like, that's what it felt.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right, bro. And it's like, that's not fair for somebody to try to put that on Jimmy. Like, oh, well, we got Jimmy, and it's like, nah, bro. Like, we got our team, and they're gonna have to deal with us as well. They got to deal with our run game, deal with that front four, deal with that nasty secondary. I have to salute. Oh yeah, and Croc, listen, bro. He was fresh off the bench. I'm pretty sure Josh Norman knows a cornerback ain't supposed to leave his feet unless he's jumping for the ball. But he was excited, man. You know what I'm saying? You ain't called his name. They ain't called his name in 3 games, bro.
Right.
It was his time. You feel me? I'm hoping that Trey Lance last night gave me a lot of confidence in the future for Trey Lance. If they're comparing him, he's supposed to be a Mahomes prototype, whatever. I'm happy as hell, bro. Like, Jimmy, I hope he does the best. I'm very interested to see what I'm going. All right, yeah. What I was saying was,
go ahead.
All right. Comparing him.
My bad, Darius. I had to get you off. It was going in and out. The reception it got real shot, man. But I get what you were saying. Like, seeing those guys and their ability. And knowing that Trey Lance has that in him, not saying that he's going to be that, but just knowing he has that type of upside, that's exciting to see what type of player Trey Lance can develop into. I get what you're saying. And that's why you trade up 2-3 to get a guy like that, because that is the upside. Like, that is the potential of it. And it looks different. It looks exciting. It looks fun. Hopefully Trey Lance can be that. But those guys right there, 100% special, man. They're on a different wavelength than everybody else, man. That was crazy watching that last night. Those quarterbacks and doing it with their arm, with their legs. That was Josh Allen put people in the hospital running through him. Mahomes took off for like a 50-yard run. Special players. Here we go. Got my guy Mike coming on. Mike, good morning. How you doing? Hold on, Mike. You're muted. Your mic is muted.
You good? I'm good.
Gotcha. Let's go.
All right. Good morning to you. First off, congratulations on the new facility. Blessings to everybody's family. I hope everyone's in good health. I just want to get that off. Man, and if you when you see BD Peacock tell him no hard feelings, I went kind of hard on him in the react.
Oh, good. I'll tell him.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the whole Jimmy thing, so I'm gonna just get this off. I do agree with some of the last callers. I hate when people say quarterback win record. It's a team win record. The quarterback is part of that, an important part, but it's a team win record. That being said, DeMeco Ryans, we should have another black head coach in the NFL real soon. That man is amazing. I remember one of the specific adjustments he made. Josh Norman had just come in. He's pressed up on Devontae Adams. They're showing a single high look. And, Aaron Rodgers wants to wait to the last second to see what the defense is going to do. And Tart bails out on top. Norman gets the press, and it's a small window. Rodgers has to fit it in, and he misses it. And those are the specifics and the type of the little things and the details a lot of people don't pick up on. But that DeMeco seems to have perfect timing with his blitz calls, with his disguises. I saw bracket coverage on Adams. He threw the playbook at him, and it was beautiful. Also want to give credit to Robbie Gould, 2 50-yard field goals last week. I'm not gonna lie, I was one that was trashing Gould. I was trashing Gould earlier in the year. I was like, get rid of him, save that money.
Did you see him in the warm-ups? Did you see he had a kick in
kicking
warm-ups
over the
and it didn't even
Packers?
reach? No, not that. I mean, but yeah, we saw that. But there was a kick, him warming up, and like it was it basically was like a 50-yard field goal, and he didn't even reach the goalpost. Like it was short. So that was always in my head, like, damn, I hope he figures out a way to get some power.
And you pick a
you know,
45-yarder in the snow, that's clutch. I mean, that's clutch. It was a full team effort. It was a good win in the playoffs. You get them how you can. You get them how you can. And so, man, I was hyped. I was lit after that game. It was a good win, though. It was a real good win.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man. But that's all I got for today. Keep it up. I think you're a fantastic talent, Croc. You're gonna go far, man. I've been following you since way back when you used to appear on Locked On. So keep it up, bro.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks, man. I appreciate
Yes,
that.
sir.
Thanks for calling in. All right, shout out to my guy Mike. I got my guy Oscar coming on now. Oscar, good morning. How you doing?
What's up, man?
What's up? What's up?
Hey, I got 3 quick points I wanted to point out. Some of them are a little off here. But the first one I want to talk is I want to go back and revisit that draft trade. I mean, it's really looking really good right now. If you really look at it, we traded 3 ones, but now look at that one. It's gonna be like, 29 maybe. 32nd.
Yeah.
And you moved up to get a 3 for that type of pick. So I mean, that's looking really, really, really favorable for us on that point. And then my second point was I had a wish list. I really wanted to play the Buccaneers, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why. If we would have played the Buccaneers, that means we'd have played all top 4 seeds on the road in 4 consecutive weeks and beat them all.
Yeah.
And that's why I really wanted to say that, so there would leave no doubt that we were the real NFC champs because we would have beaten all the top 4 seeds. And then my last point is I want to go to the visit to Jimmy Garoppolo thing is these slow starts that we're seeing. I want to know what do you think as far as I want to put some of it on Kyle and some of it on Jimmy, because actually the whole team, because the first 15 to 20 plays are scripted, but I mean in this Packers game we really didn't get to see anything from it because we never really was able to move the chain. So it's 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, sack here, the O-line then block here. And the scripted plays are very important for Kyle because the way he call plays, he's using those plays to set up something else later on in the game. And when you don't have the success of those plays or things of that nature, you really can't get into a good rhythm in the game. So that's why I think that's why we're seeing these slow starts and Jimmy not looking as good and stuff like that. I think it's a marriage of certain things going wrong at the wrong time that makes the whole rhythm, it makes everybody looks bad, if that makes any sense to you.
Well, they did start fast against Dallas, right? 49ers jumped out to a decent lead. What was it, 10-0 right away, right?
Right.
So, against Dallas, they came out firing, scored a touchdown on the opening drive. The issue in Dallas was that they kind of slowed down a little bit as the game went on and kind of hit a lull in the middle.
Right, I'm not going to tell you what now. Jimmy makes some poor decisions, I would say. It's not his thumb, it's not his shoulder, it's in his head, it's decision making. And then I think I see when he's getting that pressure on him, that's when he really gets panicky and just like, let me get this thing out of here as quickly as possible. And he try to throw it to the flat. And 2 of those balls in this Green Bay game should have been pick 6. The cornerback didn't even look at the ball. He went for the guy to try to tackle the guy. But I get what you're saying. But it's just, I don't know. I try to give Jimmy the benefit of the doubt because I'm one of those people that I want to see the 49ers win. I don't care who's back there quarterback, but I know
I get what
the
you're
whole
saying.
The whole team got to be blamed.
What you're saying is the eye test shows you something weird, right?
Right.
Like when you just watch them and you see some of the things, and those things kind of worry you a little bit. And I think Shanahan has done a good job of being able to work around that. And I think the team too. I think the team is built to be able to kind of stand some of those weird moments that Jimmy Garoppolo is capable of having. And at the end of the day, like my guy Rich says here, all you got to do is, hey, put Jimmy on your back, right? Carry him to that 2 minute to about 3 minutes left in the game, drop him, and then he'll carry you the rest of the way. So you just gotta, you know what I'm saying? You just gotta get to that point right there where you gotta live with some ups and downs and some weird moments or whatever. But carry Jimmy to those last 3 minutes. Last 3 minutes, he's gonna take you home. He's gonna take you the rest of the to your destination. He like Uber.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? He like me, right? Like I be flying all over and stuff. I gotta hop on the flight. The flight takes me to somewhere, and then once I get there, the Uber or the Lyft, it takes me the rest of the way to my destination. Jimmy is the Lyft.
Oh yeah, leading the horse to water, and then you got to make him drink, right?
Yeah. But I appreciate you coming on, Oscar. I'm gonna get the next caller on.
Oh yeah, definitely. Appreciate it.
All right. And my guy Oscar, I got Bigfoot's mom on. Bigfoot's mom. Good morning. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing, Croc? Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. I got you.
All right, cool. Just want to make sure, man. Hey, I just want a couple comments, man, about that game, man. The defense, I mean, that was one of the best defensive games I've ever seen the Niners play, man. Shutting down one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I mean, from the safeties to the linebackers to the front four, that was impressive. That was very impressive. I look forward to this Rams game, man. I think that we can definitely play a game like we did against Dallas, where we come out hot, just really push them around. That's our mentality. We got to be physical. We got to pound that rock. We got to waste that clock, long drives. That's how you beat the Rams. That's how you do it. We got to stick to that motto 100%.
No, definitely. And that's going to be the 49ers. That's their identity, right?
Yep.
Pound the rock, run the rock, try to limit mistakes and play good defense. And,
yep,
they've been able to do that. And then push comes to shove, and there's a time where they do eventually get into a shootout, then, they'll handle it there and see how the team reacts. But I think right now, teams are kind of playing into the 49ers' hands. They're playing the 49ers brand of football, and I think that's helping, contribute to wins for sure.
Yeah. And also, Croc, do you think that we'll see more of running backs than just Mitchell on a constant? Do you think there'll be any kind of rotation against the Rams at all?
Yeah. The rotation will include Mitchell and Deebo Samuel. That's your second running back.
Okay. That's
Deebo's
fair enough. I really want to see – no, I get it. I just really want to see Wilson. I know he got hurt in that last game, but I just really wanted to see possibly a third, maybe hasting a couple runs, just kind of mixing it up so that way we're not pressuring Mitchell to show up every single run. That's a lot on a rookie, and he's done great, but I just don't want to overwhelm the kid.
Yeah, he's done awesome. I think if you are Kyle Shanahan and you're, the run game coordinator and you're the running back coach, you're telling them, listen, bro, we're gonna ride you to the Super Bowl, and you got
Yep.
2 more games. You got 2 more games to kind of carry this, and you have the whole offseason to get back healthy, get back right, and come into shape into OTAs. But it'll be that much more rewarding when you're holding up that Lombardi trophy at the end of the year. So you gotta put it on the rookie's shoulders and see how far he can carry you a little bit. But I think if we're talking about a spell back right now, that spell back is Deebo Samuel.
Oh, absolutely. All right, Clark, man, just mad respect for you, man. I watch your show daily. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Us and the Niner faithful love you, bro. Keep going, man.
All right, appreciate you coming on. All right, y'all. I'm still waiting on my guy Greg Pinelli. He says, okay, he's grabbing his coffee, so he'll be here shortly. All right. Appreciate everybody in the chat right now. Almost 500 of you. If you like this show, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. My guy Chris wants the link. All right, so I'm gonna send the link, but I might only be able to get 1 or 2 of y'all on, because once Greg comes on, we're gonna get to Greg, and that's what's gonna kind of ride out the rest of this show. So I can't wait to hear. I got a tricep here. I can't wait to hear Greg's take as well. Greg always has good insight and brings a different perspective, and I think a lot of times I have my view on what I want from the offense and the quarterback position and things like that, but he's able to bring a totally different perspective, almost like me with defensive backs. I typically bring a different perspective and thought process. Greg Pinelli, our resident quarterback guru that comes on here, trainer, trains guys like Josh Allen. That's why, he's like Josh Allen's big brother. Trains, I mean, it's like 50 different quarterbacks in the Central Valley and California and that whole area. Quarterback guru, man. There's nobody more knowledgeable than him about that position. So can't wait to have Greg on. Before I get Greg on, I got my guy Chris Roscoe's on. What's good, Roscoe's?
Man, what's up, Croc? Oh, happy Victory Monday.
Happy Victory Monday. Feels good. Feels good.
I just want to say, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen just had me in awe yesterday. I mean, what they did yesterday was special. That's playoff football right there. I mean, man, I don't know how you stop that. That was just crazy. That was a classic. That's back and forth football. I loved it. But I just wanted to say, Croc, man, I love our defense. I love our defense. And the thing I really love the most is that Kyle Shanahan said, you know what? I'm going to put the ball in my best player hands. And he gave Debo the ball and said, take us home. And
kickoff returns too.
Kickoff. Debo was sorry. Oh, my MVPs was the defense, special teams, and Debo. I mean, Willis on special teams, Debo on offense, and everything else. And that defense, I'd probably give it to Armstead. He was just, I mean, everybody who cried about Buckner and all of this stuff, well, you cry no longer. Cry no more. Your tears can go away. Armstead is in the last 3 games at 5 sacks. He's been balling in the run game. Now he's doing it in the pass in the pass rush. Nick Bosa was a terror as well. So, Croc, I'm just on cloud 9, man. I tried to tell everybody this Aaron Rodgers turns into a normal human being. I came on here and said it. Aaron Rodgers turns into a normal human being. He tried to throw a pick 6 too. I would have loved that. He turns into a normal human being when he gets into the playoffs. And that's what he did. And I'm just so DeMeco Ryans, man, the performance, he shut down the number 1 offense in the league. And then guess what? He repeated that by shutting down the MVP of the league. DeMeco is on another level. So, Croc, I just came here to talk my talk. We got the best defense in the league. The Bills were number 1 by numbers, but the 49ers are the best defensive team in the league, the best front 7 in the league. Man, I'm on cloud 9 right now. And the last thing I want to say, like that Packer came on here on your show talking about the Niners quit and lay down. What did I say when I came on here, Croc? We don't lay down. We are built different. We are cut from a different cloth. All right, man.
Sir.
Shout out to Greg Pinelli. I love hearing him talk football. I can't wait to hear what he got to say. I mean, there's nothing he should say negative about Josh Allen. Josh Allen put it all on the line. It was crazy. Shout out to you, Croc. Keep it up.
All right. Appreciate you coming on. I got another couple callers waiting. Coach Rob, Bang Bang Niner game. You guys are going to have to wait. I got Greg Pinelli coming on. So we have to get to Greg. If you can hang tight in there, but it's going to be about 30 minutes or so. So if you want to just kind of hang up and then come back, I'll get you guys on the show at the at the tail end. But I do appreciate you guys calling in. I do have Greg Pinelli. He's waiting right now. I wanted to answer one of these questions real quick. I see my guy Snapper G says no defense in that game. Ask Josh Allen, did he enjoy it? And this will be my pushback on that. There was defense until there wasn't, right? Again, and I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. The score was 21-23 midway through the 4th quarter. And I was looking at it, and I'm just like, man, as special as these 2 quarterbacks are, team scored 23 points. Team scored 21 points. Like, okay, they're special, but, that's pretty normal in the sense of how points go. So, teams win how they win. They score how they score. You don't need that special. You can play with the Jimmy Garoppolo. And then the rest of the 4th quarter happened. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. And to say, I get you, there's no defense. Again, there was no defense. I mean, there was defense until there wasn't. But we have to really talk about how special the quarterbacks were. And I get it. Like the defenses, I don't know what they could do. Josh Allen threw a bomb 65 yards in the air. What defense do you play that's prepared for that? You know what I'm saying? Like, what defense? Just 65 yards in the air. So we can say, oh, there's no defense. The touchdown Tyreek Hill scored on the crossing route. You can't play 2-man much better than that as a defender. Every way that I teach 2-man, You can open up to that facing the basically with your back kind of to the field, funnel the receiver inside. You really just want to get into a trail position. He got in that trail position. What that allows you to do in 2-man with a safety over the top, you can undercut any in or out breaking route, right? He undercut the in breaking route. Perfect. He undercut it. Got his head around. Perfect. The ball that Mahomes threw was just, it stuck to the dude's hands. And what Hill did in that moment, he immediately knifed upfield. Boom, knifed upfield. Got upfield right now. And then how he just split the entire defense, it's just special. So I get it. No defense. But I think those quarterbacks and those players, man, they just took over and they were just better than what the defenses had to offer. Like, it was the quarterback. It was the receivers. Like, they were special. They were special. So I hear you. I hear you, Snappy G. But, man, those guys, they just ended up being special. So, yeah, the squib kick, I know the Bills are kind of kicking themselves. But y'all know what it is, man. It's QB Monday. We have over 500 of you in here right now, all right? So as we get ready to bring Greg Pinelli on and start our countdown, the 500 in here right now, go ahead, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, click the little link, the chat down, click the live chat down, hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. When we come back, we will have our resident quarterback guru, Greg Pinelli, on live. Stay tuned. Welcome to another episode of QB Monday. Again, we've already been in here live for an hour, but now we have our resident quarterback guru, Greg Pinelli, on. Greg Pinelli, quarterback trainer, trains all type of quarterbacks all throughout California. And if you need guys coming from Arkansas or whatever, he trains my guy. He trained my guy. He trained my guy, Strand Smith, to be an all-state quarterback. All-state. So this guy, he's working wonders with guys and doing some really big things. But also he trains guys like Josh Allen, Tyler Bray, who's on the 49ers practice squad right now, trains Tyler Bray and works with Tyler Bray. Tyler Bray actually works under him. All right. So this is a big time guy, and it doesn't get much better than this as far as understanding the game of football and quarterbacking. All right. So Greg Pinelli, obviously I typically jump in here and ask you about your little brother, Josh Allen, and kind of what you saw. And I saw your wife's, obviously I follow her on Instagram. Shout out to Francesca, Miss Pinelli. And, she posted videos of you, the excitement and everything that was kind of going on. So kind of take us through some of those thoughts while you were watching Josh Allen. Yeah, and we're going to get to the 49ers and the quarterback and stuff like that. But just what you saw from Josh Allen, how proud you are of him, and kind of just that game in general from the quarterback's perspective.
Yeah, no, well, disclaimer too. We watched it at Brady's house, so Tyler actually got released, unfortunately, but he got released because Jimmy played. So Jimmy was full health, full go, and you can't have two quarterbacks on the practice squad, especially this late. So
hey, tell Tyler Bray he has a nice. I like that the brick over there on the brick on the fireplace and everything. Really nice touch.
They're talking about covering that too, and I'm not a big fan of them covering that. So we're gonna have a chat with them about that. But no, he just got that new house. His next door neighbor is actually Lorenzo Neal. So
wow,
he lives.
His wife was a teacher. His wife was one of my brother's teachers at Lincoln High School. But go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, really? No.
Yeah.
They're good people. Lorenzo and his wife, they're good people. So, no, but it was crazy. I mean, you feel like the first touchdown, well, not the first touchdown, but the first comeback touchdown, I guess, if you would, at the end of the game. With like 3 minutes to go or whatever it was, that drive that started, then you kind of knew, okay, there's a lot of time. There's probably a good shot, right, that they're going to make a comeback. And then by the time Josh gets the ball, they do make the comeback. By the time they get in the end zone, it was like 1 something left. And then he does it again. And there's 13 seconds or whatever the hell there was on the clock, and you're like, finally, like this was the one. They finally got over the hump because of that late comeback with very few time left, and then just gut wrenching, flip the script. Pat Mahomes, 2 plays. I wish they would have done a quarterback draw and then tried to spike the ball, but that wasn't the case for Josh this week. So as far as Mahomes doing that crap that Dak Prescott did, but no, super proud of Josh. Like, just the dude, I don't know. I've talked about it on here before. The kid is so competitive. Like, and people will say, here's the thing. People will say there's no defense in the game, right? There's not enough credit given to good quarterbacks that do their homework, pre and post snap read, and know defenses like the back of their hand. There's reasons why Tom Brady has as many rings as he has, why Joe Montana has as many rings as he has, why Peyton Manning had so much success in the NFL, while Pat Mahomes has so much success, because these guys study their film. These guys study coverages. Like, if you think that these dudes go to the office in the morning and watch film for an hour and then go to practice and then go to lunch and then go to one quarterback meeting and leave, you're crazy. Like, the backups, their job, Davis Webb has done a really good job with Josh, going over call sheets with him the last 4
Davis
years
Webb,
since he's been in.
the quarterback from Cal.
Yeah, that's Josh. That was
Okay.
Josh's third string guy. So that's been Josh's Tyler Bray, essentially. His job is to help groom Josh from a mental perspective. Davis Webb's a brain. He's been there. Josh's dude. So, like I told you, we play Call of Duty or play PlayStation, whatever it may be, on Fridays. I play with Josh and Steph or Gabriel Davis or the Snowman, his left tackle. Play with all these guys, but then as soon as they'll play for like an hour or whatever, and then Davis Webb will come over the house and they'll go over the call sheets and then go over defense again and go over the last minute stuff that they're doing for game prep. And that has really helped Josh's game and helped with the defensive pre and post snap recognition. So I think that people got to give a little bit more credit to some of the quarterbacks that are just doing their job, but doing it at a level not just pre-post snap read, but then making those throws, moving amongst or within the pocket. Some of those throws are just, both of them yesterday, watching them retreat, by themselves sometimes, flipping the hips, both have huge arms, making those throws look easy. But when you got D linemen running at you and you're creating space for yourself, they're being phenomenal athletes that I don't think that I know they get a lot of credit for the arm strength, but being able to create space like that in the pocket, move, flip the hips, make those throws, it's hard to teach. I'll put it that way. It's got to be one of those feel things.
You talked about pre and post snap, and one of the really better throws that I saw Josh Allen make was, I almost call him Josh Norman again, but Josh Allen make was that kind of, it was late in the game. I want to say this was the touchdown to go up 13. So that last touchdown, and just the anticipation on what looked kind of like a bang 8. I mean, you know exactly what it's called, but you had Gabriel Davis. Shout out to Gabriel Davis. We're all talking about the quarterbacks and receivers and all that, but Gabriel Davis had an amazing game. Probably 200 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns. They said that's something that nobody has done in the NFL, including Jerry Rice. So that was a special game from Gabriel Davis, who, he plays alongside Stephon Diggs, who had 3 catches for 7 yards. All right, but he kind of ran, and it was like he bent the route in, and you just see Allen just pull that arm back and just boom. And it was like right when he put his foot in that break, I mean, the ball was on him. And that's why I say, people could talk about no defenses being made, but when you just see the special things that these quarterbacks did in that moment, I thought that was big time. What were kind of some of your thoughts on the timing of that throw?
Yeah, no, it was that one. And then again, so defensive wise, Brian Dable, he dialed it up. It's funny watching the game with Tyler. He gives you a different perspective. I wish people could watch a game with NFL players because they give a whole different perspective pre-snap read, and what routes might be called based off this coverage. And literally Tyler called it. They're going to run a post here and they're going to hold the safety here on the backside. Boom. He throws it and he looks at me and just throws his hands up. And I'm just like, that's why those guys are there. And I'm sitting my ass at home training quarterbacks because they get it, right? So a hell of a throw. Like, again, pre-post snap read made it easy for himself. He puts his foot in the ground, drives it, and the ball's out quick. The one that I go back to though, like that route was good. It was clean, like a bender inside on a too high safety look. The backside safety's getting held, not getting held literally, but he's holding the backside
he's holding
safety
him with the route. There's a route holding him to the backside.
Right. So for most people that he wasn't really getting held, but he was being held with his eyes and with a route on the backside, and he bent it inside the safety. So typically, if you had a seam route on two high safeties, you're not going to run the seam route into the safety that's in front of you. You're going to bend it inside the safeties, and the quarterback will throw it with anticipation right when you snap your head around, and that's pretty much what happened. And I'm not saying that was a set bender or a set seam route, but that's what it was, or bang eight. It looks very similar. But the one before, Gabriel Davis put the freaking corner on skates.
Out of
that was nasty.
Me being in the cornerback fraternity, I could not bring that play up. I don't want to talk about
I knew you were good. That one, I'm going back to that one. That one was unreal. He snapped it off, and I don't even know what the hell to say. Like, that guy, who was the corner? I don't even know who the corner was, but it just, man, he looked lost. It was quick too. He popped up, but the ball was already out. It was filthy. So just a overall display of arm strength and athleticism. Who the hell was it? It's that rapper. I saw him tweet something out, saying that he was pissed off that his boy White Vic didn't get a chance at the end of the game.
Talking about Josh Allen.
Yeah, talking about Josh Allen. So one of the rappers on Twitter or something like that tweeted it out last night, saying that he was pissed that his boy White Vic didn't get a shot there at the end of the game. But yeah, I both of those guys are freak athletes, put it that way. And they might not look like it. Those dudes might take their damn jerseys off and their shirts off, and they don't look like a sculpture like Cam Newton's always looked like. But from a athletic standpoint, they find ways to get it done. And both of them, that's kind of the new wave of what quarterback play is. Herbert has kind of showed that he can do similar things, and he's a big-ass quarterback too.
My brother saw Herbert in a grocery store. My brother lives out there in Irvine, and he was like, bro, what the fuck? This dude Herbert looks like a giant. He's that person. Yeah. He's huge.
Yeah, he's a big guy. I mean, Josh is 6'5", 240. Pat Mahomes isn't as big, but he's like 6'3", I think, 225-ish probably. And then Herbert's 6'6" or something like that, probably 240. So people really don't realize how big these guys are, especially when you stand next to them. I'm almost 6'3", 230 pounds, and I feel small when I stand next to them. So, but you got to be big. You're taking shots from Aaron Donald. You're taking shots from Von Miller coming off the edge. These guys are huge, so it pays to have a little bit extra. That's why Big Ben's big ass was staying at 260 his whole career. That's what made him last. But no, Josh is. I know he's pissed off. Obviously, I talked to him via text briefly after the game, and it wasn't lengthy by any means. But I'll FaceTime or talk to him, I'm sure, this week, and we'll probably play some golf next week, and he'll have some choice words, I'm sure, and then he'll move on, and that's the way it goes sometimes.
you have these you talked about kind of the changing of guard of the quarterbacks, and I think people looked at that performance between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes like, man, that's kind of the Brady and the Manning of the pastime, right? And you talked about just a different dynamic that they bring, whether it's their ability to make plays and things like that. But both of these quarterbacks led their team in rushing. Our Patrick Mahomes led the Kansas City Chiefs in rushing with 69 rushing yards. You also had Josh Allen, who led Buffalo in rushing with 68 rushing yards. So these are guys who are, Mahomes over 400 yards total offense. Josh Allen just shy of 400 yards, both 4 touchdowns combined. And I had a person in the comments below mention all those stats for Josh Allen, and they still lost. Right? As opposed to a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, who doesn't have nearly the stats of those guys, but he won. What's kind of your take on that in the sense of the QB win type thing?
Well, here's the thing too, Josh. Obviously, this being a Niners podcast, but I watched all of the Bills games. That has been kind of their play. He doesn't have a run game like the Niners have. They're not going for $150 every game on the ground with just the running backs. He carries that load a lot from a running perspective. You go look at the numbers. I bet he led the team in rushing in. I'll take a stab and say 12 of the 17 games this year. And that's how it was last year. And I think realistically, and I said this also when they lost last year, and you watch Tyreek Hill do like that flash slant, like under whatever the hell. He's basically like a little drive route, like it's just a little under against man, one step outside, boom, he's gone. He did it last year. I know you probably remember seeing it, and they were playing man, I think, with Trey White. And my thought was, why the hell are you playing man on Tyreek like that? And they didn't do it really and they might have done it more, but they were more successful at it yesterday until they went again, and then Tyreek's running and throws up the peace signs at him and does the exact same thing he did last year. And I said when they lost last year, Josh's team, the Chiefs, or excuse me, the Bills have to now prepare and set their roster every year to be basically to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs if you want to get to the Super Bowl. Like, you're going to have to do that. And they did a good job at it, but the Chiefs just ended up having the ball last. And why Matt Milano was covering Travis Kelce at the end of the game instead of a strong safety or something like that, I don't know. Pat Mahomes made a good throw, a good catch, threw a back shoulder ball, but I would prefer that maybe a strong safety or I don't know. It's tough to put a nickel on Kelce because he's so big and physical. So I get that perspective from it. But, yeah, it's just – I don't know. Josh, I feel like if they had a little bit of a better run game, a little bit more run support from the running backs, not just him. Because if he's putting up 60 yards rushing a game, could you imagine he's putting up 60 yards rushing a game and the running back's going for another 100? That's a lot of time controlling the ball. And you're controlling the clock and you're keeping it out of Pat Mahomes' hands. So I think that if they can get some run support from other guys, that that's going to help them go deeper year after year. But I think that's going to help him in maintaining a longer career as well, because how long can you really last? I know he's a big physical dude, but ideally, do you really want your quarterback running downfield and lowering his shoulder?
Knocking defensive backs out.
Every drive, realistically, and putting yourself in that vulnerable position. So we'll see. It'll be interesting what they do. I know they got a couple running backs, and Singletary wasn't bad, but I think it would definitely help them if they got their run game cooking a little bit more in order to help them go deeper into the playoffs and make a Super Bowl run too.
All right. So I do have some Trey Lance questions. I got some super chats and things like that. But first, I'm going to kind of get to the game that just happened. And, you know, obviously you have the 49ers taking on the Green Bay Packers. The 49ers walk out with a win. And this is QB Monday. So we're going to talk all things Jimmy Garoppolo. I want to ask you, you know, when you watched Jimmy Garoppolo's performance and kind of how it went, what were some of the things that were going through your mind as you were watching it?
I think that Jimmy did pretty well. I think you got to – I said it at halftime the other day with you. The circumstances that those guys played in this past week, it's not easy. I mean, it's easy for us to sit here in California or wherever it may be when it's 50-degree weather and you're watching the game and you think you can go outside and just pick up a football and throw it. Well, then go take it to the negative temps with a wind chill or 0 degrees or 5 degrees or whatever. The ball is literally like a rock. It's not as tacky as it normally is. Like, it's every time the ball's hitting the ground, and I don't care if they have 25 footballs sitting on the sidelines in the ball bag, it starts to snow. The ball's sitting in somebody's hand waiting for it to go into the next or give it to the ref next. It's getting slick. As soon as it's touching the ground, it's getting slick. It basically becomes just a rock. Like, it's just this cold rock at that point. And it doesn't help that Jimmy's hand is messed up. And so people wonder, okay, why they do the quarterback test. People, look, we got to stop the cap here. Stop the cap. So I'll get to that in a second. But people wonder why they measure quarterbacks' hands during the pro days and during the combine for games like that. That's really, I mean, realistic at the end of the day. Because you got mitts on you, you're going to be able to grip the ball a little bit easier. But when you compare the two, as far as the performance goes, he threw one pick, and it was a crappy pick. It was late. He should have thrown the ball away. We all know that. That's obvious, right? It doesn't
there were
take
a couple where he would look like he was maybe trying to throw picks, fading back, throwing to the outside.
Right.
I'm like, okay, Jimmy.
No, and here's the thing.
You know?
So, like, here's the thing. So typically, like, if it's warm weather and you're able to drive the ball, those balls might not look like they're going to be picks because the ball's coming out a little bit hotter. It's coming out sooner. There were a few shaky ones, but there's always a few shaky ones, right? And I said the other day, I told people, look, people were asking me about the just random quarterbacks that I train or a couple guys that I know were asking me about the quarterbacks who are left. And if you had to rank them, where would you take certain quarterbacks? And I put Jimmy above like three other guys in the playoffs. I said, given the circumstances right now, if I had to win with 3 other guys or win with people in the playoffs with the 8 that were remaining, I had Jimmy at like number 5. And so and that was above Stafford, Burrow, and Tannehill at the time. That's where I put him. I said based off of – I'm not talking about based off of arm talent and based off projections on what they can do in their career. I'm talking about right now what they've done. Jimmy has found a way to win, and I get it. And it's a team effort. But 2 minutes left in the game, we've seen it over and over and over again. I'd rather have a pretty loss than I'd rather have a ugly win. Rather than a pretty loss. And he's shown that he can actually go down the field and win the game consistently. He's done it over and over and over
You'd
again.
rather have Jimmy than Josh Allen, basically, because Jimmy got the ugly win, but Josh Allen had the pretty loss. So you'd rather
I'm not saying that.
That's what you just said.
Yeah, I get that, but he wasn't one of the quarterbacks that I'd take Jimmy above, is what I was saying either.
Okay.
He's one of those guys that would be obviously above Jimmy, is who I'd rather take. But yeah,
Ryan Tannehill
I'm sure.
threw an interception.
Let me ask you this though: would you rather have? Would you think that Josh would have rather thrown 2 picks yesterday and won yesterday's game? Absolutely, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So it is what it is.
So you think that?
But Jimmy does a better job of having the ugly game and still winning.
I mean, he has the ugly game, but still wins. He does a better job.
And sometimes it is ugly, sometimes it isn't. But if you look at both quarterbacks and that weather they played in, Rodgers might have thrown a couple more pretty balls the other day, but what did it do for him?
Yeah. My guy Chris, he said don't go in on him.
Yeah. Why don't you send me $2, Chris, and I'll save you the beat down, the verbal beat down right now.
I'll cash app you. I'll cash app you $2.
I'm joking.
Oh, no, so Chris also he took offense to. He said Jimmy over Burrow.
I'm just gonna keep it rolling. Croc's making money off of you right now. I'm gonna keep it going. No, I honestly I'm saying from what this was 2 weeks ago. I'm saying this is 2 weeks ago. Like, give me these guys, or give me Jimmy based off of what he's done. I'm not talking about projections. I'm not talking about, the last 2 playoff games. This was what I said a couple of weeks ago, and I said this because Jimmy, look at the Rams game. They're down 17-0 at Levi South down there, and ends up winning a game and plays with good effort. And the guy's hurt, and his shoulder's jacked up, his hand's jacked up. I can't even imagine what the hell his hand feels like, or his shoulder in the damn cold weather.
Right.
But the dude's got a lot of heart, and I guess that people will say, "Oh, Jimmy's this, Jimmy's that." Go put in Trey Lance. Like, this is all speculation. Do you really want to throw in the backup quarterback, the rookie quarterback,
in
this circumstance right now?
No way.
That talk is gone. That talk has left the chat. Like, you can't think that way now because Trey Lance has a stronger arm or Trey Lance is a better athlete. You put a rookie quarterback into a situation like that, we don't know what the hell is going to happen. At least you kind of have an idea of what's going to happen with Jimmy, right? But you don't know what the hell is going to happen. And I don't think you really want to test that out right now. I understand the sense of want or the sense of urgency to get a quarterback that's an athlete. And I hear people say, well, I hope that he's 75% of what Josh and Pat Mahomes do or can do. We'll find that out next year. I don't think you really want to try and find that out this year. I hope we don't find out this year just because it's not an ideal situation now to be throwing a rookie quarterback in. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of anxiety. The game everything gets a little bit different, and you're going to get everybody's A game now. And especially with the Rams. It's like they've played us twice this year already. Like, it's going to be crazy. I mean, I think it's going to be a crazy game on Saturday or so. What is it? Sunday afternoon.
Greg, I got some stats I want to pull up with you as it pertains to kind of Jimmy Garoppolo and some of his numbers and how he contributes to wins and what some people are saying. And maybe this might add context to why there's some pushback. All right. So here's the first stat from our guy, Coach Johnston. And he says QBs in the conference championship, INT interception percentage for the playoffs. Stafford, 0%. So he hasn't thrown any with 55 attempts. Mahomes, 1.2%. And Jimmy, you see Jimmy right here, 4 times really kind of the other guys at much less percent. I mean, much less, damn near half the attempts of Mahomes. Is that something that maybe worries you?
So what, as far as the playoffs right now?
Yeah.
So he threw.
He's throwing right? 2 picks.
Jimmy's thrown 2.
Yeah.
2 picks on literally
44 passes.
2 picks on the exact same. He threw one on the rollout, which was a lazy throw 2 weeks ago. And then he threw this one late. And I think he tried to force the ball on this one. The other one got away from him. He tried to force the ball on this one, and he was late to get there. Realistically, he should have just thrown it away. It wasn't one of those ones where he forced it across the middle in the coverage with 3 guys. So I get that there's pushback, but interceptions are also typically going to happen. And I know you're saying, well, Jimmy, as far as Josh and Pat, Joe, they're not throwing picks like that. I get that. Their arm strength is also a little bit more elite. And they're also not dealing with a thumb and shoulder injury as the other guys are, or excuse me, as Jimmy is. So stats can say what they say. That is what it is. I'm not saying that
do you
there's
think
not
that
better
wins
quarterbacks
are
out there.
Yeah. Do you think that wins are a QB stat? Because right here we got our guy, Jarrett. Shout out to Jarrett. And he says Jimmy Garoppolo, 106 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 INT. 49ers win. Josh Allen, 330 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 INTs, and also the 68 rushing yards. And they lost. But a lot of people will point to, well, you won with Jimmy.
I don't think obviously you could put it on one dude realistically, but what I'm trying to say is in the last 2 minutes of a game when Jimmy comes alive and helps you drive down the field and score, he doesn't get enough credit where he should, because a lot of times you might take the other 55 minutes of the game or 57 minutes of the game, and it's somewhat decent play. It might be mediocre play, and then 2 minutes hits, and then Jimmy's like, just turns into like the little mini Tom Brady, and then you're like, okay, it makes you forget. Remember we talked about it. It makes you kind of forget about some of the other stuff that he's done earlier in the game because he ended up going downfield and winning the game.
Someone asked me, they said, who would you rather have, Ryan Tannehill or Jimmy Garoppolo? And my response was, for 56 minutes, I'd probably rather have Tannehill. But for the last 4 minutes, 100%, any day of the week, any game, whatever, give me Jimmy G. You know,
and that's my arguing point.
Give me Garoppolo, and that's probably that's what matters, I guess, most. If you look at a lot of 49er games, for however it turns out the way that it does, they're not getting blown out. So more times than not, it's going to come down to those last few minutes where Jimmy G excels, and for whatever he's done to put the 49ers in that position to win the game, good or bad, they will typically have a shot late in the game. And I think that's when Jimmy Garoppolo comes through the most clutch. And I think, like you said, that is something that I think everybody kind of has to factor in.
And that was my arguing point. You say, well, you're going to take Jimmy over Joe Burrow. That was my point is, would I take Joe Burrow as it stands and how Joe Burrow has played up to this point?
Like if you were starting the season, it is like, okay, week 1, you got to go into the season with a quarterback, Garoppolo or Joe Burrow. You're 100% going to say Joe Burrow. Now, but you're also saying, hey, playoffs, winner go home situation, last 3 minutes of a game, who am I giving the ball to, Joe Burrow, Jimmy Garoppolo? You're going to choose Jimmy Garoppolo. Is that
Jimmy?
Right?
Jimmy has proven it over and over until he proves it wrong. And knock on wood, hopefully we don't find that out this weekend. But the guys just found a way to get it done. So I'll give him props for that. And he played against Aaron Rodgers, who's considered one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, right? The stats were damn near the same. Literally, if you look at him, I think Jimmy was 11 for 19. Rodgers was 20 for 29. Both had no touchdowns. And Jimmy had a pick late in the half.
Yeah.
Same game. The same game, essentially. It just looked prettier from Rodgers than it did from Garoppolo. But again, I told you I'd rather have an ugly win than a pretty loss. And realistically speaking now, he's played I think he's played Aaron Rodgers 4 times. Take away the game that we lost earlier this year with Rodgers came back with 37 seconds. Jimmy Garoppolo would be 4-0 against Aaron Rodgers.
All right, real quick. I got a good amount of super chats here, so people have questions for you. We got this first one here. Greg, fantastic job with Josh. What specifically would you work on with Trey Lance to improve his game?
Pre and post snap reads, getting the ball out a little bit quicker on some of the shorter throws. He's got a hell of an arm. And we've talked about that, and you guys could see it. But I think Trey has a little bit more of that wasted motion, as we've talked about too, where he'll lift the ball up. So a lot of the shorter throws where the arm angles kind of change, and you watched last night where Josh is doing this RPO, run pass option read, and he'll flip and throw it sidearm. That's quick. A lot of those guys, a lot of the elite quarterbacks that you'll see in the NFL right now all have baseball backgrounds. And a lot of quarterbacks at the college level that are elite have some baseball backgrounds. But literally,
talk about the wasted motion. because I think that's the part where, you know, you've talked about it a couple of times on the show, but we got 530 some people in here. Maybe they haven't heard you talk about the wasted motion that we see. And one thing real quick before you get in, you talked about it where it's like, well, he's gotten to this point, right? He's gotten to this point, 3rd overall pick. You don't want to change things too much, but you also can see scenarios where it kind of hinders him a little bit, maybe with getting the ball out a little quicker. So I think most people, when you say wasted motion, a lot of people will kind of allude to the long, you know, he kind of brings the ball here sometimes, but that's not what you're talking about. There's something else he does. Talk to people about that.
Yeah. So when we have the ball here, I don't have a football on me right now. Actually, yeah, I do. Right here, when you have the ball in the carriage here, so you'd hold the ball here in the carriage. Okay, most times quarterbacks will push that ball straight back in this kind of like a flat L-ish position. Tom Brady, he won't set the ball with his wrist here, so we'll keep the ball. This is like QB lesson 101 right here, okay? So when you get the ball back, that point of the ball here and your elbow stay connected together, okay, and that's what locks your wrist. And then you want to keep your wrist locked all the way through, associated with the elbow, so by the time I'm throwing the ball, where's the point of the ball and the elbow? They're staying connected together, right? But that motion happens here, like what we call a flat L position. Now, Trey gets there, okay? Back in the day, they used to teach this, or some people will teach this, and then they'll just lift it straight up, and they say it's quicker, right? That's kind of become obsolete now because the biomechanics studies say just because it's quicker doesn't mean that your body is in sequence or the biomechanics of it is producing enough power or as much power as it would be getting one continuous circle going through. Trey gets there, but Trey has the ball in the carriage here, and then right as he's about to throw, he has this like timing mechanism for himself. So it's almost like this hitch in his motion where he'll go up here with the ball in the carriage, he'll go up and then go away here, and this to here is taking longer than him just going from here to here, right? Or here to here. He gets there, but it's longer than this. So that little hindrance in the motion is something that he's done. It's become like a timing mechanism for him to do that and start the motion. The problem is on quick game, you know, where you're doing RPO slants or you're doing flat routes and the ball's out or should be out now, he still kind of carries through that same motion rather than just trying to get the ball out as quick as possible. Obviously, most of the times they'll throw those routes without the laces, and most people will kind of shorten it up. I think that's one thing that he'll probably work on this offseason with Quincy Avery, is shortening that motion a little bit or making it happen a little bit quicker where the ball is out now on the quick game. His feet are pretty clean. He moves well and he does a lot of stuff in the pocket, just getting him comfortable. And people are going to say, well, how can he get comfortable if he's not playing? He will obviously be in the game next year. And it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, continuous, and we're going to have to see. You're going to see some good things. You're going to see some crappy things. It is what it is. It's the NFL, right? Those guys on the other side of the ball have a job and they get paid for what they do as well. So it's not just going to be Trey Lance, let's step in. Just like Josh. I mean, there was a learning curve with him. Pat Mahomes, you know, a lot of these guys, it's hard to sustain a 4-touchdown, 350-yard performance every single week. Just put it that way. So I think that it'll open up the playbook, and I'm excited to watch them open up the playbook with Trey Lance. But I think that if he could work on a few things, obviously pre and post snap, the guy's a pretty smart dude, but just quickening up the release on short game stuff. And that's one thing that Jimmy's done well is his quick game is pretty solid. He gets the ball out really, really fast on quick game, especially in zone holes or man coverage, man blitzes, things like that, where he can throw it over defenders on slants and in routes, things like that.
I do want to ask you before I get to the next super chat question, with what you've seen from Garoppolo so far, whether this season, throughout his career, or in the postseason, do you see anything? Do you think that he's done enough to where even if they win the Super Bowl, it's like, oh, we have to bring him back as opposed to playing Trey Lance?
I said it earlier. I said the only way they'd probably bring Jimmy back is if they won a Super Bowl. And I still kind of stand by that. I think it would be tough, though, at this rate. Just like I said, given the equity that they gave up a lot to get Trey Lance. So you're obviously going to want to try and recoup one of those picks. I'm not saying that Jimmy's going to be a first-round trade. If he goes and wins the Super Bowl and goes lights out in the Super Bowl, he might go fetch something. Just because the NFL now with the trades has become like the wild, wild west as far as what people are willing to give up for a trade, right? Jared Goff, right? Jared Goff went and got, or the Rams sent Jared Goff to the Lions, and they threw another two first-round draft picks. I forget exactly what it was for him. And and he got sent there. So like that, what does that tell you? And he was in the Super Bowl, and a lot of people would say, he was a pretty solid quarterback and whatever it may be, but they still gave away. The Rams still gave away a couple first. I think it was at least one first for Matt Stafford. So 2 firsts. Yeah. So how does that make you feel as Jared Goff? Like it makes you feel probably.
I think that's crappy. The part too. A lot of 49er fans missed that, right? Jared Goff, his time with the Rams, if you want to talk about like wins and stuff, his time with the Rams, nobody really won more games than him during that span. Like once Sean McVay showed up, I mean, he won a ton of games and went to a Super Bowl, lost in the Super Bowl. A lot of similarities to Jimmy Garoppolo. And even then, the Rams were like, you know what? We need more. We want more. And they gave up the house to move on from him. 49ers kind of did the same thing, but went a different direction. I have another super chat here from Kim. Says, Jimmy also threw 3 picks to the house that got dropped. We don't say they got dropped, but there definitely were some passes where we thought that, it could have got picked off. But you kind of alluded to that being more so the weather.
I think the ball was out. There. The ball was out slower. There wasn't a lot of velocity behind the ball. So, I'm not saying that Jimmy has made the best decisions in the world, and I'm not saying that his arm strength, regardless if he was healthy or not, would have got the ball there or not. But the weather, I think, does obviously play a huge factor in gripping the ball and being able to truly pump it out there as you need to, especially on some of those out routes or some of those stick routes, comebacks, curl routes outside that really need to be driven, and they weren't necessarily driven, and it hangs a little bit longer in the air and kind of gives you a heart attack when it's in the air because you're watching the corner play, the receiver. So that's what I'm going to contribute it to. But it also takes a little bit of luck. That's football. It takes a little bit of luck. There's plenty of times you can watch, and I'm not saying yesterday, but there's plenty of times you watch Pat Mahomes. He gets pretty lucky. He has a lot of luck, and I think I talked about it earlier this year where they put out a stat last year. I think Pat Mahomes had.
There was one year he had like 19 interceptable passes.
Yeah, there was. I think at the time they showed the stat, there was 14 dropped interceptions, which would have put him at, and I think when they put that stat out, I would have put him at like 30-something touchdowns to 24 picks or something like that.
Yeah.
So if you had 34 touchdowns to 24 picks, would people be saying the exact same thing about you?
Probably no, because I had a season like that, Jameis Winston, and nobody's calling him Patrick
Exactly.
Mahomes.
So it takes a little bit of luck too.
We got a super chat here from our guy Gammy. He says, do you think the overtime, and you can give a quick answer, but do you think the overtime rules need to be adjusted because of kind of what happened in the game?
I wouldn't say just because of yesterday. I've always kind of thought, you ask my wife, she'll give you her true feelings on that one after yesterday. She's firing it off, pissed off at the world and this and that and the other thing. I think that I'll give you a 2-part to it. Yes, I do think that, and I don't think that because of yesterday's game, though. Okay, so I think that they should adopt what the college overtime has. I think that one team, or I think they should both get the ball, give them the ball at the 40, move them back, put the ball on the 40, or give them the ball at half field, put the ball on the 50, and they each get one drive. Screw the clock, give them one drive each. Let's see who's got it, right? If they score, great. The other team gets the ball. If they kick a field goal, great. Other team still gets their shot. Put them both on the 50, take the clock out, and leave the play clock on, and just it is what it is from there. That would be my perspective on it. But also on the flip side, like a lot of people are saying, is the game is 60 minutes and then there's overtime and the coin flip, and unfortunately it ended shitty for my guy. But you got to play a full game, and literally special teams plays a huge factor in that, and defense plays a huge factor in it, and they ended up playing, freaking basically 59 minutes and 59 minutes and 50 seconds of it or whatever, and or 47 seconds, and there's 13 seconds left, and people say, oh, they should have done this, they should have done that. Again, it's tough. It's very easy to sit in our seats, right? And I say that with all of us, and make calls and make suggestions and this and that and the other thing. And there's a whole different reason why those guys are holding call sheets and wearing headsets on the sidelines. So you got to finish the game. Unfortunately, they didn't yesterday the way they wanted to, as far as the Bills go. So, yeah, I think there needs to be a change, but at the same time, you got to play the full game, and you got to be aware of who you're playing against. And clearly, we saw yesterday that 13 seconds is not enough to put Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs away. But if they pooch kick it or whatever it may be, maybe, which is probably what I would have done, or said that I would have done yesterday, you've run off another 3 to 4 seconds, and maybe they had one less play to run. So,
all right, here we go. Got another super chat here, and it's my guy Chris, and he says Jimmy was doing that pre-injury, and I think that's the ball's kind of floating, being late, passes being intercepted. He talked about the Tennessee Titans game where he overthrew a receiver on a crossing route where the ball got away from him, and he threw a pick there. So I think here's the thing with Jimmy, and I said this on a podcast recently, and I actually got it from someone in that tunes into the show. Jimmy is both the arsonist and the firefighter. Someone commented that, and I was like, damn, that's perfect, right? And it kind of alludes to the fact that what you talked about with what quarterback you would choose. You know what you're going to get with Jimmy Garoppolo, the good and the bad, right? And the excellent, which is the last 2 minutes. I think the elite, we'll say that's Jimmy's elite trait. But it comes with just weird moments.
Bullshit.
And you just,
it does. It comes
you
with
accept that.
Yeah, exactly.
Here we go. We got Kim here. And she says half of the time Jimmy puts the 49ers in the situations to come back. And again, that kind of that too alludes to the fact that he's both the arsonist and the firefighter. And he does a really good job. I mean, he is an amazing firefighter, right? He is amazing at putting out the fire. But he's also amazing at kind of starting the fires. And I've talked about how I do believe that some of these games, not all of them, but there are a good amount of games that the 49ers play that are probably closer than they have to be if you kind of have to lean on Jimmy to put a team away. It seems like that's not really a strength of his. Then when you do look at the games that the 49ers put teams away, a lot of times it's the run game, right? Just big gaping runs. And obviously that's a big part of 49ers identity. I wonder how much of it is because of Jimmy Garoppolo's kind of ability to keep other teams in games at the most, inopportune times.
And I'll say this: I think that Jimmy, people don't. I also think that understanding this too. Yeah, he'll make a couple errant throws or a couple shitty throws, and it puts you in a bad position. But also on the flip side, if you watch what he does, we take it for granted. Most people take it for granted, but don't realize the difficulty of it, and especially when there is pressure or exotic coverages and they're rolling or whatever it may be, or there's blitzes, how fast Jimmy gets the ball off and makes some of these throws that look easy but really aren't that easy. I mean, he gets the ball out really quick on a lot of, and gets it to the receivers and lets them get upfield, and he'll stand in there and make some of these throws and take shots that look like they should be easy balls. And yeah, you'll say, oh, well, he's an NFL quarterback. He should be doing it. I watch games a lot on Sundays, and there's a lot of NFL quarterbacks that throw some of these balls and miss them a lot of the time too. And Jimmy seems to be lights out on some of these quick game throws that are going for 10 to 15 yards a pop. And then he'll do something where he'll try and throw it over the middle deeper, and it sails on him, and then we're back at square one. So yeah, you get the pluses, and then you get the minuses from Jimmy. But he's found a way to get it done at the end of the day. So it's hard to really, really bash on him. If we were losing these games, yeah, this conversation would be completely different.
The Rams traded a farm for a quarterback, and so did the 49ers. Difference is they are starting the QB they traded for. I hope Jimmy can pull through. Also differences, right? I mean, Matthew Stafford's in his 9th or 10th season or 11th season, whatever it is, as opposed to a rookie quarterback who didn't play all of last year, played at the FCS level, which powerhouse, but, played at the FCS level. And so there are some differences. It's not apples to apples in that scenario as to why one guy is playing and the other guy isn't. We have a couple comments here from my guy, Melf Hunter, one of our favorites here that's always in the chat. Jimmy still hasn't played good in 5 playoff games. I think when you look at the stats, there's something to that. But he also hasn't been asked to do a whole lot. So I think the 49ers would like to, if they can have a game to where Jimmy doesn't have to be the guy, I think Kyle Shanahan is good with that. Right? So what y'all feel like Jimmy is playing good might not be how Kyle Shanahan thinks about it. Maybe Kyle Shanahan thinks is like, hey, as long as we win with Jimmy Garoppolo, that's a good game from Jimmy G, as opposed to expecting it to look like a Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes performance. Does that make sense? Yeah. The expectations might just be lower from a statistical output.
That's another thing, is the expectations are set that Jimmy should be doing this, that, and the other thing. Put it this way, and we talk about team efforts, right? Team efforts as a whole. You can't put a win and loss on a quarterback. It's a team game. Let's look at the record for the team when Jimmy Garoppolo is not in the game. I'm not talking about this year. I'm talking about since Jimmy's been there. With the same team that he's got when other quarterbacks are in the game. And I'm not saying the other quarterbacks are Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen or there are other starters in the NFL. I'm just saying guys that were in the system with Kyle Shanahan, it's not good with the exact same teams.
And I know people are going to say, well, you can't, I don't think anyone's comparing Jimmy to, Jimmy to Beathard and Mullins and Hoyer, who are all going to be lifetime backups, and we don't expect Jimmy to be that. Do you think that Jimmy, would the 49ers be better off with Derek Carr as opposed to Jimmy Garoppolo? Or let's say a Deshaun Watson. Let's say a Deshaun Watson.
It's one of those. It's hard to say because it's all speculation, right?
Yeah.
Would they be better off with Trey Lance? Would they be better off with this guy? I don't know. We'll never know.
We will know. We'll find out next year.
We'll know. Yeah. But I'm talking about like with other dudes. As far as the speculation goes, we'll find out next year with Trey Lance. But we saw it when Jimmy first came in to the 49ers. That's why he ended up getting that contract. The Niners were absolute trash. Jimmy G shows up, wins 5 games straight, he beats the Jaguars that year, who had the top defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
He ends up having a comeback drive once or twice, and he looked like a baby Tom Brady driving down the field while he was doing so. And it was as soon as Jimmy started playing, it was a complete change of pace. And this is given the fact that Jimmy only had probably a quarter of the playbook because he was only there for so short amount of time. So you had to pay the guy, right? The culture changed when Jimmy got there. They won 0 games to 1 game to 5 games immediately. So you were left in this position. Do we continue down the path that we were going, or do we pay the guy that's going to go fetch money from somebody else that was Tom Brady's backup for 3 to 4 years, who was groomed under Belichick? Do we let him walk, and keep being trash, or do we pay him because we've won now? And that's what they had to do. It was either it's pay to play at that rate, and that's what they had to do. And I think that if you went back, and I'd be willing to bet if you went back to that same scenario today, given what we've seen of Jimmy, take the feelings out of it. I think a lot of people would still take Jimmy Garoppolo. I think you would still say, hell yeah, we'd have to have him. That's just my opinion. I don't know what you would think of that. Would you rather them say, screw it, let him walk, and then start back at square one again?
As opposed to what?
As opposed to signing him and giving him the contract that they did give him.
No, I think most people want them to, franchise tag him, but I didn't want a franchise. I actually liked the contract. The contract was essentially 2 franchise tags, a little bit more than 2 franchise tags. So I thought the way they constructed it was perfect for a guy who came in, not 100% sure what he is, but you gave yourself some outs and you gave yourself some time to kind of see, hey, we can let it play out a couple years. Will he eventually be what we want him to be? If not, then we can trade the house for a rookie quarterback or look into Matthew Stafford or look into Deshaun Watson. So, and I think they did all of those things. They checked all their box. So Grant Cohn is the one that says the arsonist and the firefighter. I heard it on this show. So I knew that. And somebody had put it in our chat. So I've been kind of running with it. And I say hey, somebody in my chat said this, but Grant Cohn's the one that said it. So 100% makes sense. And I think everybody understands where he's coming from with that. We got Mark here, Lemur.
Grant Cohn every week still says that Jimmy G is trash, but here we are. Grant Cohn gets to provide more and more content every week as Jimmy Garoppolo finds a way to win games. So that's just my opinion.
So yeah, I got you. All right. Mistakes aside, every QB in the playoffs this weekend moves in the pocket and lifts their back leg when throwing. Why doesn't he do this? And I think he's just talking about Greg Pinelli, Jimmy Garoppolo, but that's not ideal, right? Like moving and throwing off of your back leg.
So hold on really quick. Mistakes aside, every QB in the playoffs this weekend moves in the pocket and lifts their back leg when throwing. Why doesn't he do this? I think we talked about it before. Jimmy's a short strider. A lot of guys that lift their legs are more power throwers just because they're getting more of their body into it. Jimmy has a little bit more of that short stride. He keeps a base. And he doesn't make a lot of throws that would require from a biomechanic standpoint, I'll break it down for you. Biomechanic standpoint, typically you try and release the ball with the back foot attached to the ground. That's one point of deceleration in the throw. That and then the front side shoulder. So when you throw it, ideally from getting the max velocity, if you could, your foot's attached through the release of the throw. Wherever the foot goes thereafter, it doesn't even matter. So that's just them putting their body into some of these throws that Jimmy does not have in his bag. At the end of the day, he doesn't throw and create enough power that would even require his body to do some of those things. And that's just my opinion. So I think that isn't something at the end of the day where it would benefit Jimmy, just realistically, because it doesn't benefit necessarily most quarterbacks when they throw the ball anyways. But those guys do it because they're creating a lot of torque, and that's what naturally their foot will just swing up and do that. But from a biomechanic standpoint, it's not necessarily providing them any extra, if you would. That's coming from the arm, and those guys have elite arm talent, and Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't. That's just the bottom line on it.
All right, we got another contribution here from Kim, and we just got 2 more questions after this. But Kim says, how much does Kyle really trust Jimmy to have the ball, or how much does Kyle really trust Jimmy? He gave the ball to the real MVP of the league on 3rd and 7 with the game on the line. Let me talk about that real quick, because I don't think that play was about trusting or not trusting Jimmy Garoppolo. The issue was there was a certain amount of time on the clock left. All right. Do you throw the ball, risk throwing an incompletion around 1 minute left, and now you have to try a long field goal, and if you miss that, you set up good field position with around a minute left for Aaron Rodgers to drive down the field? Or do you put the ball on the ground with the run game, run the clock? If you don't get a first down, that's fine, because even we can still run the clock down to about 20 seconds or whatever, call timeout, kick a field goal. Even if you miss, you know, Rodgers would have about 15 seconds. Now, also we saw what happened in the in the Chiefs game, so maybe you don't need a full 15 seconds. But I think that run was more so about clock management than it was not trusting Jimmy Garoppolo to throw the ball. Just my opinion. That's just my opinion. We do have a couple of questions here that weren't super chats, but I wanted to kind of get your opinion on, and then we'll get out of here. But we have Christian Soldier. He says Trey Lance has no pocket awareness at all. Have you seen the lack of pocket awareness from Trey Lance?
No, I'd say that he has pocket awareness, but then again, there's some ghost pressure that might creep up, or that there's a time clock in your head, right? So when you drop back as a quarterback, you have this kind of clock going in the back of your head, right? Where if you're not getting touched at a certain point, you're going to feel like you're about to get touched or hit or whatever it may be, or the ball is supposed to be out on time. And so it goes both ways, having pressure and not having pressure, and not having pressure and getting out of the pocket for no reason. Some guys will do that just because, like I said, that time clock goes off in their head, or the first or second progression wasn't open. So they think, okay, my check down is either there or I'm running. And sometimes with Trey Lance, that check down for him is going to be running because he's a great athlete. So that's one thing. I think that that pocket awareness comes with obviously experience as well, and having an understanding more of the playbook and confidence in the guys up front. So he might not have the best pocket awareness right now. Josh Allen didn't have the best pocket awareness when he came into the league, and neither did Pat Mahomes. And a lot of guys have crappier pocket awareness than both of those guys, or all three of them, but they still find ways to get the job done. I think that next year, as Trey Lance gets more and more reps, that you'll see him start to accelerate a little bit more in the pocket. Because like I said, also he was a pro style guy in college. So it's not like he was running these sprint outs and getting them out of pocket and these run pass options essentially with sprint outs. You know, it's either run or throw it or tuck it. So he'll be all right. I'm not really worried about the pocket awareness too much with the Trey Lance stuff.
And I think this one right here kind of loses that. A raw rookie with no pocket awareness. Oh my gosh, breaking news. Basically saying he's a rookie, and sometimes rookies, the way that they're feeling the pressure right now, things might be a little sped up in their mind. And
it's not even sometimes, it's most of them. I mean, 99.9% of them are going to be like that. It's just, it is what it is. That's part of the growing stage of football, right?
Right. 21-year-old, youngest quarterback ever drafted in the NFL. But Greg, man, I've had you on for an hour. All right, I appreciate you coming on, of course, answering all the questions. Anything you want to get out before you exit the stage?
Look at you! Why you got that grin on your face? I just want to know. I just want to know one thing. I just want to know one thing, because I almost tweeted it out at Miss Stevie the other day.
Okay.
I want to know.
Miss Stevie is Miss Crocker, by the way.
Yeah, Miss Croc. I want to know if, for those who watched last week and the conversation, the way that it went last week with the Bildo at the end there. I almost tweeted, whatever you do at Miss Stevie, do not listen to the episode of QB Monday because of the conversation and the way it went. So I want to know, if she heard the conversation, or if she still has no clue where that conversation went.
She still has no clue, but if you want, let her know.
I need to tweet her. Whatever.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, the Bills fans were throwing dildos on the field when the Bills were taking on the Patriots. They were throwing dildos at Kendrick Bourne and some of the players. And there was one that I noticed because it looked familiar. It's one that sticks on it can stick on the wall in the shower. You know, but listen, that's all I'm gonna say about that. My wife can tell, listen, as adults, and not for me. Don't get anything twisted, y'all. This stuff is not for Crocky, all right, at all. But you know what I'm saying, you start getting, you know what I'm saying. All right, anyways, that's too much. But anyways, appreciate you coming on. Go ahead, tweet Miss Crocky.
I'm gonna tell her whatever you
All
need.
right.
Don't listen to it and see if she'll go back and listen so we can get Miss Crocky's opinion on that.
All right. We're gonna have Greg exit stage left, and we will be right back to close out the show. Appreciate you coming on, bro.
See you guys.
All right. All right, y'all. Appreciate everybody that tuned in today. All 500 plus of y'all, man. I know I got a little X-rated, but y'all know I always try to keep it real with everything that's going on. You know what I'm saying? I know some people are still confused. They're like, wait, what the heck happened? You know what I'm saying? What the dildos, all that type of stuff, how we even get on that topic. I appreciate everyone kind of tuning in and contributing to the show. I felt like it was a great conversation on here for over 2 hours. On Twitter, we were on Twitter for about an hour. If you're on Twitter and you're not on the YouTube channel, head over to the YouTube channel. Just type in Eric Crocker. Should pop right up. Make sure you guys, if you haven't already, listened to the Locked On 49ers episode with myself and Brian Peacock. Numbers going up. I mean, they've been up, but we see everybody contributing and listening to that show. Locked On NFL Draft as well. 49ers ain't ready for the draft yet. So, we got at least another week, and I'm going to say another few weeks, man. 49ers going to the Super Bowl, baby. It's been awesome chatting with everybody in here today. If you haven't already and you like this show, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. But y'all know what it is, man. We will be back tomorrow, Tuesday, for another episode. Later this week, I have the opportunity. I leave out Friday and or Thursday. I leave and I go to Mobile, Alabama. All right, Mobile, Alabama. I'm going to the HBCU Combine, so I'm really excited about that. And then I'll be there, Friday, Saturday. If 49ers are playing LA, or they are playing LA, I might travel, go to the game. We'll see if I can get this ticket thing kind of, it's a little pricey right now. Get that down a little bit. But then I have to go right back to Mobile for the Senior Bowl. So I'm excited to be out there for a week, meet up with a lot of people, watch the Senior Bowl, all that good stuff. Exciting times, exciting time of the year, especially a 49er fan. The 49ers were 2-4, 3-5, and now they are contending for the NFC title, man. Exciting time. So that's going to do it for this episode of the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. I will get back to y'all tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Pacific, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Y'all know where to find me right here. Let's go. Peace.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Eric Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Cross Talk TV podcast. Peace.